Hey everyone, Kim Levinsky for the next vlog of the Tahoe 200. Today is Monday, August 23rd, and I just got back from Bigfoot 200 out in Randall, Washington. So this is going to be a recap of my experience out there. So I went out a week early to do 5 days of volunteering with Destination Trail. So that is what is getting me the race credit for the Tahoe 200 in September. So the volunteer experience was absolutely phenomenal. I had the best time. I learned so much. I was absolutely geeking out in race director mode the entire time. Also as a trail runner, it's fantastic to have the opportunity to give back as well. So I had the best of both worlds, being there as a volunteer and also being around the Destination Trail staff the entire week and getting to learn from them. It was just fantastic. So basic rundown of what we did at race headquarters, which was the finish line for the Bigfoot 200. The Bigfoot 200 is a point-to-point. So it finishes in Randall, Washington at a local high school. So basically for those 5 days, me and the other volunteers were getting everything ready for the race. So the majority of the work was prepping the aid stations, and the aid stations were made with literally truckloads of food and equipment. It was unbelievable. You can see all these pictures that I'm sharing right now, just to try to wrap your mind around the scale of it. You know, I knew it was going to be a big operation, but it wasn't until I got there and actually saw everything that I was just completely blown away by the scale of everything. So they had an entire refrigerated truck full of just all of the food that needed to be refrigerated, all the perishable food. There was another truck of just all the regular food, and all of that was eventually moved by us into aid station breakdown. So every aid station probably took up, no exaggeration, like 15 by 15 feet, and there were 14 of those aid stations. So we got to pack each of them, and that was an incredible experience. It was a 4-page long list for those aid stations, and we would have to go in and make sure that every item was on there, because for a race like this, it's extremely remote. So Crystal was explaining to us, if we miss one item, it could be a really big mistake. So we worked in partners and made sure that every item was checked off of the list. So that's basically what happened for those 5 days. It was a process every day of working about 8 hours, and we got to just haul a lot of equipment. It was pretty much a workout every day. Then on Thursday, we had the opportunity to help with check-in. So this was so much fun. I mean, I always love check-in at my races because you get to chat with each of the runners. So basically we set up on the high school track, and then as the runners came, we gave them their bib, their swag, their pacer bib, and the crew access tag, everything like that. So it was really fun. That's when I got to meet up with my buddies Matt Klein, Justin Dew, and Dougie. That was the crew for the Bigfoot 200. So that's what I got to do after volunteering wrapped up. I got a ride out to the starting line and then met up with the crew. Got to see Maddie start his race for the Bigfoot 200. And then the next 104 hours or so was spent crewing for Maddie. And if you've been watching this vlog, you know that Matt Klein is doing the Triple Crown. So this was his first stop along that journey. And we got to crew for 103 hours, 104 hours, whatever it was. And I have to say that it was probably one of the most challenging experiences of my entire life. It was insane. Absolutely super fun and super rewarding. And man, what an experience. So I would probably take 5 hours if I went into detail on the entire experience. So I'm just going to try to put it in a nutshell, wrap it in a bow here on this recap. So let's see. So Maddie rented a very large SUV for us, and because, like I mentioned before, Bigfoot 200 is a point-to-point, that meant that we were living in that SUV for the 103, 104 hours that we were crewing and pacing. So it wasn't until the end of the race that we went back to a house that Matt had rented, and we got to shower and relax and sleep on a bed. So as you can imagine, we smelled very bad, though not as bad as Matt. No offense, Maddie. But it was crazy. I mean, living out of an SUV, and then also crewing and pacing, you're not sleeping a ton. So the sleep for 4 days pretty much consisted of napping for an hour to 3 hours at a time, either in the SUV or on the side of the road or in the dirt. And And then eating as well. We had to pack a cooler because, again, with it being so remote, it's not like you can just pull off to a restaurant to stop and eat. I think we ate one meal at a restaurant the first day because we had the opportunity to go back into town, and then after that everything was from the cooler. So we packed a ton of lunch meat in, like, turkey and ham and cheese with bread for sandwiches. We had, actually, what worked out well, those backpacker meals that I mentioned on the last vlog. We used those several times and ended up using that little camping stove for the entire time that we were out there. So highly recommend that if you're going out to Bigfoot to crew. Bring a little camp stove with you, and then some of those backpacker meals where you just have to heat up water, because that actually worked out really well for us. So pacing wise, I got to pace Matt for a lot of miles. I will probably never let him live this down, but for the record, he did tell me that I was probably only going to do like 2, maybe 3 pacing legs. You saw when I packed on the last video that I had like 3 bags of gear for those 3 pacing legs. Well, it turned out to be 4, and it turned out to be 72 miles. So, Maddie, you're a good friend, and I'm sure you would do the same for me, right? So I'm happy to say that everything I had anticipated and I had shared with you on the vlog the last time, it all came true. It was a fantastic experience. It was absolutely the perfect way to end my training for the Tahoe 200. And even though I'm giving Matt a hard time about these 72 miles, it was a really great experience because I got to, number one, I don't know if I've ever hiked that much in only a couple days. And I got to see that it really doesn't beat your body down too much. I mean, obviously the sleep deprivation, that is what was really giving your body a beating. But actually just hiking the entire time, it really was an eye-opener for me, in that you can hike a ton, and you can cover a lot of ground over the course of the 200 miles. So the scenery was unbelievable. You can see in all these videos that I'm showing you. I've never been to that part of the country. It was it blew all my expectations out of the water. Like, what I envisioned Pacific Northwest trails to be, that's what it was, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The pacing legs that I got to do were pretty cool because for the first 2, I started at 1 a.m. and it went all the way through the night and into the morning. So I got to see 2 really incredible sunrises. One of them was at the highest point on the course, Mount Margaret, and I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was incredible. I would get like emotional thinking about it because it was so beautiful, and I'm so thankful for that experience that I got to have. One of the other pacing legs, we were along what's called Lewis River and saw this just unbelievable waterfall. It was amazing. It was amazing. I know I'm not doing it justice with my description. Hopefully these pictures and videos are showing you the immense trail beauty that I got to experience. I also got to practice taking an actual trail nap, so that was fun. Crossed that off my bucket list, and now I know that I can do that at Tahoe. That was kind of an unknown of like, am I going to be able to just sleep on the trail? And yes, in fact, you are. When you're that tired, you can just lay down and fall asleep. So let's see. Those were the first 2 pacing legs were through the night. The third one was during the day, so that was really fun because I got to see everything during the day instead of a lot of it being in the dark, and it was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that third pacing leg, I have to say I was truly blessed, in quotation marks, because this was the leg that had 4 or 5 water crossings, and not just like let's get our feet wet in the stream. It was like full blown up to your knees. For me, because I'm a little bit shorter, it was over my knees, river crossings. And you know, again, I'm gonna give Matt a hard time for that forever, but you know, ultimately we had so much fun doing it, and there were a lot of laughs during those river crossings. And the last pacing leg I got to do was really special because it was the last 14 miles of the race, which meant that I got to run with Matt around to the finish line. And that was just, I mean, incredible, absolutely incredible. An experience that I'm never going to forget. And just so special to be able to share that with Matt and with Justin and with Dougie. So all in all, it was a phenomenal trip. I mean, I don't know what to say other than I'm so thankful for the experience that I got to have out there. And again, it was just the perfect way to wrap up training for Tahoe 200, to experience you know, running and hiking on no sleep, and to experience the aid stations that they're going to have at Tahoe 200, to see the volunteers that are supporting you at the race, the medical team that's supporting you at the race. It just got me so excited, so excited. So now we're just a couple weeks away from Tahoe 200, and I didn't think it was possible to be more excited, but I am after that experience. And I just want to say thanks to my friend Matt for inviting me to do this and to share that experience with him. It really, I don't want it to sound cheesy, but it was an absolute honor to be able to do that. And it's something I'm so thankful for, and I'm never going to forget. So that's the recap of the Bigfoot 200 experience for volunteering, crewing, and pacing. It was just awesome. So anyway, next time we chat, it's going to be just a week or two away from Tahoe, and then it's game time. So, all right, thanks guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.